Krishna So how's everyone doing now? Yeah? Do you enjoy the chanting or kirtan? Yeah? Yes, yes? Okay, good, good. Me too. So, we have someone at the door. Um, so, so today we're continuing with the Bhagavad Gita. We're on the 8th chapter. So there'll be people going in and out of the door. So that's how when you have a free program, people come all the time. Haribol, Haribol, Hare Krishna. So we're on chapter 8, text 24. If you'd like to look it up, follow along on your phone. There's a web page that I can give you. It's and then Sasha, do you have copies for anyone who might want? If someone wants, raise your hand. Yeah, and we have benches, and people can come closer actually, because I noticed that it's not a very large group, although it's a nice group, but it's not a large one. So if anyone, there's benches on this side. They're free. No one's sitting on them. So it's text 24, chapter 8. And then if you want to follow on your phone, the webpage is Veda Base, like spelled V-E-D-A. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Veda Base, so V-E-D-A, base like baseball, vedabase.io. And there's a link to several of Prabhupada's books, including the Bhagavad Gita, and then you can go to the chapter, which is 8, and you can go to the verse, which is 24. So I'm going to read the verse first. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We can do it together. It's nice. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master has opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So obeisances to all the great devotees of the Lord. Everyone is a devotee of Krishna ultimately. And for those who are practicing with devotion, my utmost obeisances unto you. So we're reading from chapter 8, text 24. So I'll read the Sanskrit, and if you like, you can follow along. It's actually not difficult, although it may seem difficult if you're not used to it. Agnir Gyotirah Shukla Sanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Vidojana Agnir Gyotirah Shukla Sanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Ganchanti Brahma Vidojana Agnir Gyotirah Shukla Sanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Vidojana. Others like to recite. Agnir Jyotirah Shuklaha Sanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Brahma Vidojana. Agni Jyotirah Shukla
Tatra prajata gochanti. Brahma Brahma vido janaha.
Agnir Jyotiraha Shukaha. Samasa Uttarayana. Tatra prayata gachanti. Brahma Brahma vido janaha.
Agni Jyotiraha Shuklam. Sanmasa Uttarayanam. Tatra praita gaichanti. Brahma Brahma Vita Jana.
Translation. Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery God, in the light, at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When fire, light, day, and the fortnight of the moon are mentioned, it is to be understood that over all of them there are various presiding deities who make arrangements for the passage of the soul. At the time of death, the mind carries one on the path to a new life. If one leaves the body at the time designated above, either accidentally or by arrangement, it is possible for him to attain the impersonal Brahma Jyoti. Mystics who are advanced in yoga practice can arrange the time and place to leave the body. Others have no control. If by accident they leave at an auspicious moment, then they will not return to the cycle of birth and death. But otherwise, there is every possibility that they will have to return. However, for the pure devotee in Krishna consciousness, there is no fear of returning, whether he leaves the body at an auspicious or inauspicious moment, by accident or arrangement. So this is the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna here is describing part of a yogic process for persons to, a yogic process for people to endeavor to control the time that they leave their body when it's time to die, so that they can achieve a higher destination. And Krishna is explaining this within the context of explanations of other ways to achieve different goals of life, including the highest destination of all. So I'd like to go back to the beginning of the 8th chapter so we can better understand this context. I'm going to read some of the verses without the purports to begin with. So we go to text 1, and feel free to follow along if you would like to. So we go to text 1 of chapter 8. So it begins with Arjuna asking a question. O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the Self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me. And he continues, Arjuna continues inquiring in text 2. Who is, so if you're following along, you would skip the purport since we're going through in a summary fashion here, and go to the next verse. And Arjuna says, who is the Lord of sacrifice, and how does he live in the body, O Madhusudan, which is another name for Krishna? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? Then in text 3, Krishna, because the Bhagavad Gita, it's just a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. Arjuna inquiring from Krishna. And it's a dialogue where answers to the questions could not be better. Because while Arjuna is the expert follower, questioner, or disciple, Krishna is the best of all gurus, because he is actually the Supreme Lord himself, from whom all gurus who are pure receive the knowledge that they have. And the goal of all gurus actually who are pure is to please Krishna. So naturally, to have a dialogue about how to live perfectly and how to understand the world perfectly, to have that dialogue by hearing from the source of all knowledge and the goal of all knowledge, Krishna himself, there could not be a better person to learn from. And because this is a spiritual book, when one hears the Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, whether 5,000 years ago roughly, when Arjuna did from Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra in India, or one hears the Bhagavad Gita here in a circle of pure persons like yourselves, or at any time at home, if you have a pure purpose and you listen carefully, then you can associate with Krishna directly. Because since this is spiritual, and Krishna, this is a spiritual topic, and Krishna, when he explains how he's God in the book, because he's actually God. Therefore, when you hear from Krishna through reading the book at any time, if you choose to, you can associate with Krishna directly, just as Arjuna did, because his being God means that he's always there, even if you don't see him when he appeared in a form that appeared like a physical form, although it wasn't 5,000 years ago. So that's why it's wonderful to hear Krishna's words, and if you hear it from those who are pure, then you can understand Krishna's words as he meant them to be conveyed. But if one hears the words of Krishna from someone who's not actually interested in following Krishna's message, then one will get an adulterated version, and one will not actually achieve the pure understanding, which is to lovingly serve Krishna and understand how everything comes from Krishna and everything's meant to be used in the service of Krishna. And so with that little interjection by me, now we'll continue to hear what Krishna has to say in responding to Arjuna's questions. And so here he goes in text 3. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "The indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the Self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma, or fruit of activities." And if you don't mind, I'll read it one more time. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "The indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the Self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma, or fruit of activities." So a quick quiz question, because I like to do that, is, and if you don't mind, please, in listening to my question, just for a second, don't look at the book, although I hope I'm not making an offense by telling you not to read Prabhupada's books. Just kidding. But if you can just try now. So activities related to material bodies. What's the word that's used to describe that in this verse? Karma. So karma is activities that one does in this material world, not for the purpose of achieving the supreme goal of Krishna consciousness, but rather it's done in order to pursue material goals. Material means, well, it clearly means material things like this and this, but not for the purpose of serving Krishna, but to improve one's material position within this world. So that is called karma. And you can do things that accrue good karma or bad karma. And then in text 4, Krishna says to Arjuna, O best of the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Adibhuta, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods, like those of the sun and the moon, is called Adidaiva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the super soul in the heart of every embodied being, am called Adiyagya, the Lord of sacrifice. And then he begins to describe what one can do with this knowledge. So the first few verses was it about the process of yoga, or there's someone at the door, Bhakta Sasha Prabhu. Well, the first 4 verses that we were just reading together, are they about the process of yoga, or are they about understanding the nature of life and this world?
Understanding the soul.
Uh-huh.
Understanding our relationship with material world,
Uh-huh.
soul, and
Uh-huh.
super soul.
Okay, perfect. Okay, did you hear that? So Radharani Priya.
Preeti.
Radharani Priti, sorry. So Radharani Priti said, so it's about understanding, the first 4 verses that we read were about understanding the material world, God, and the soul, and the relationship between these. So there's a difference between understanding different types of activities and understanding the nature of things as they are before us. Prabhupada likes to quote this aphorism, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now it is time to inquire into the Supreme. The purpose of human life is to do that. If you're not a human being, then if one is not a human being, then one will not do that. Animals, people may like them or they don't like them. They may eat them or they keep them as pets, or they may ignore them. But regardless, we don't see on a regular basis, a dog or a cat or a cow or a horse supplicating themselves, bowing down before the Supreme Lord, or chanting verses in animal language or whatever. But human beings, they were given by Krishna, by God, as you will, the capacity to inquire into the Supreme. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. And according to the Vedas, now it is time to inquire into the Supreme, because we have the human form, which gives us the capacity. Any gift that's given to you, what makes us worth receiving that gift is that we use it for its God-given purpose. So if we're given a human body, and the purpose of the human body is to inquire into the Supreme, if we do that, then we'll receive wonderful results, we'll be pleasing God, and when we please God, we'll be pleased too. So, Arjuna is fulfilling the purpose of life by inquiring into the Supreme, and Krishna's providing him the answers about what is this world, what is the soul, what are activities within this world, who is God. He's beginning to explain that. With that knowledge, only if you know who you are and in relation to what is around you, could you possibly know what to do, right? Like, think about it. If you would like to go to maybe, it's between holidays. So if you want to go visit your, say, one of your family members, and you want to know how best to get there, before you, if you use, let's say, say Uber, right? Then you plug in where you're going, but what else do you need to either plug in or confirm?
Address.
What's that?
Address?
Which address?
Or the destination where you're going?
The destination, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And what else?
Where you coming?
Right, your current address.
That's true.
So in order to know, thank you, in order to know how to go somewhere that you want to go, you need to know where you are. So Krishna begins before Krishna begins explaining the process of yoga, of how to achieve the highest destination, before one can understand that, one needs to know who one is, who God is, what the soul is, what's around one in this world. Otherwise, it won't make any sense. Why should one engage in yoga to get closer to God if you don't even understand that God is superior to you? Or if you don't even understand that God exists? Or if you don't even understand that you're a spirit soul? If you just think you are just the body, the material body, right? Dust, if you think that all you are is like an existentialist, like No Exit by Jean Sartre, right? If you think that you're just the body, then why should you engage in this process of yoga? So it's important to understand reality in advance of trying to understand instructions about how to achieve the highest goal within the possibilities of what one can do in this world. So now that Krishna has explained about the soul, God, the material world, and the relationship between them, then Krishna explains what to do. Text 5. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. I'll say it again. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. So Krishna is explaining that if you remember God at the time that you leave your body or die, then you can achieve God's nature, the supreme nature, the supreme destination. And so the Bhagavad Gita is there to explain why, in fact, that is the supreme destination. Why, in fact, the destinations which most of us have been getting mixed up in, at least in the past, why those are inferior destinations. Why identifying with the material body and seeking temporary material achievements is an inferior goal, which provides someone, doesn't provide one the happiness that one can get by achieving the eternal destination, which was an eternal relationship with God, which one can have at all times, regardless of whether one takes birth in this body or that body, or when one's young or old, or after death. One can always have that eternal relationship with God. And so, because it's eternal, that renders that destination superior. And also because it is full of happiness, it's superior. So, why is it that seeking temporary happiness related to material things, like making lots of money, right? This is New York City. So this is a place for making a lot of money for many people. So why is it, and among so many other temporary goals, why is it that a temporary goal like that is inferior to the eternal destination that is achieving an eternal relationship with God? Why is it inferior?
Because it's not
Never satisfy us.
Yeah.
Adi first and then Radha. Yeah. Go ahead.
It won't satisfy us.
It won't satisfy us.
Unceasing, unmotivated devotional service to the Lord is the only way to satisfy the self.
Okay.
That's what Scripture says.
Thank you. Okay. That's
Sorry,
That's wonderful. Go ahead.
It's not natural, sorry. It's not your constitutional position. It's not your natural quality.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you are as a soul. Soul is Satchitananda, and it's looking for that eternal bliss.
Mm-hmm.
And material world is perishable. It will never give any happiness.
It will never give any happiness. But
Maybe time being seems happy,
Mhm.
but no, it will never, because that's
Okay.
not your natural quality.
Okay, good. Someone else?
And once you get it, there's never enough. You always are searching for more.
Okay, good. Mirta?
It's temporary. It's something that doesn't last. It's
Mm-hmm.
whereas a relationship with the Lord does.
Mm-hmm.
Being with the Lord is eternal.
Okay, good. Anyone else?
And then also that,
Yeah.
like if we pass away and like Krishna said, quits this body, then we can't take this stuff with us. You know,
Mhm.
it's only our character and only development in the soul, you know,
Mhm.
that we could take with us, and following what's permanent and not perishable. Then we could be happy. It's our true
Mhm.
nature.
Okay, good. Someone else?
No love in it.
No love? Okay, thank you. Yes, Subhangana?
So even if you have so much, you cannot enjoy. So all of us can eat one plate for dinner. Even if there's so much money, you cannot eat 10 plates and 20 cakes. And being 30 million times at the same time, we are limited. We cannot enjoy even if we have so much.
Especially when you get my age, yeah. I used to be able to have multiple plates now. Okay, anyone else?
Nobody can.
That's a good point.
Anyone else? How about you?
He kind of took what I was gonna say,
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
but also, no, it's okay. But I don't know. I feel like it can turn evil very fast. Like your intentions could be good with money at first, but I don't know. I feel like down the line, sometimes people go a different route or they get dragged, I don't know, into some weird stuff
Mm-hmm.
with money. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It can change you quickly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm hearing a lot of very interesting comments. They're all so. On the one hand, we're hearing how it's just not consistent with one's real nature to be enjoying these things that are extrinsic to oneself, who is a pure spiritual being ultimately. And we're also hearing how these things, when you get them, they're temporary. Now, if they're and you can never seem to get enough because it's all relative. So there's how can you count what is real success? Every living entity has to go through birth, death, old age, and disease. And sometimes we romanticize the pleasures to be had in this world and the pleasures that we may have in our life, some of the days that as we move along. But there's a lot of misery, as one of you is commenting, that these things are temporary. So what temporary means that sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. So if we're young, then things may seem more enjoyable. And when you're old, when you get diseased, that's not that. And when you can't do the things that you could do when you're younger, that's a source of misery. When you get sick, that's miserable. When your body can't do things, when you're stuck in bed, that's misery. Misery is when someone that you're used to having pleasure doing things with or depending on, if their relationship with them ends or they pass away. So these are all sources of misery. So to the extent anything in this world gives great pleasure, by the same token, it causes an equal amount of misery. Because whatever good thing you get, since you're gonna, if it's not Krishna, then it's gonna have to be taken away from you at one point or another. So to the extent you enjoyed it, when it gets taken away, you're going to become equally miserable. So Krishna is encouraging people, encouraging us, asking Arjuna to remember me at the time of death, and then you will attain me. Now, then, and Krishna continues in that vein, whatever state of being, text 6, whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. So now Krishna is explaining that if you remember Krishna, so this is explaining how that works, right? So the verse before, Krishna says, if you remember me at the time of death, you go to Krishna. So what's he saying now in this verse? If you remember...
Whatever you remember, you attain that.
So if it's Krishna, you attain Krishna. And
you are attached to some sense gratification, or your family members, you are thinking about your house or something, you attain something like that in that.
you'll attain a destination other than what's spiritual, if that's what you're thinking of.
And also,
Yes, Mary.
because our senses are flawed, meaning we don't have the right perspective. We could chase pleasures to no end, and like Subi said, there's also opposites. Like if you eat ice cream, like a lot of lecturers said, like you can't eat as much. Eventually, the pains of the stomach will happen, and anything that is not permanent, they have opposites. There's pleasure, there's suffering. But if you want something that everlasting, have a happiness, like in happiness, if you satisfy the Lord and God, then you're going to be happy, as it is by byproduct. So then why not seek the highest?
Okay, good. Thank you, Mara. Okay. And then, so now that Krishna has explained how it works, you think of Krishna at the time of death, you go to Krishna. You think of material, some temporary goal at the time of death, you'll achieve that. So then Krishna goes back to the point he was making in the prior verse. But now he's talking about what to do today. So think about this. So this is one of my favorite verses. So I'm going to read the Sanskrit. And I was just reading earlier today a transcript of a lecture by Srila Prabhupada on these verses, and certain verses in the 8th chapter. And he was quoting this verse that we're about to read, text 7, multiple times. And this is one of my favorite verses. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudyacha mayarpita manobudhir mami vaishya yasamshayaha. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind intelligence and fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. Let's read it one more time. Therefore, Arjuna, remember, Krishna is talking to Arjuna in this Bhagavad Gita, but he's also talking to us. So when he says what you should do, Arjuna, he's talking to me and to each of you. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me, Krishna, in the form of Krishna, and at the same time, carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. Now that's for Arjuna. So here, if you want to know what this means for you, because like we said, Krishna is speaking to each one of us, so then it's each one of us has our own prescribed duty. Now that's another topic unto itself, what is one's prescribed duty. But everyone's got their own things to do. Not everyone knows what they are, not everyone does them, but for Arjuna it's fighting, because he's a prince and he is defending the kingdom from being taken over by evildoers, warmongers, albeit relatives. Hare Krishna. You're going, Prabhuji? Thank you for gracing us with your association.
Wonderful presentation. Thank you. All glories to Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So Krishna's instruction here is think of Krishna in the form of Krishna. So he doesn't say think of God in the form of a cloud, which is kind of like formless, right? Think of the light. He says think of God, think of me in the form of Krishna. Now, the form of Krishna is clear in the Bhagavad Gita because Krishna is literally standing before Arjuna. So in that form that he's standing before Arjuna, he's saying, think of me like this, even if I'm not standing here having this dialogue, which is the case for all of us, right? We're going about our lives every day, and Krishna is not right there. But sometimes we, why is Krishna not there? But Krishna is saying, think of me in the form in which I was talking to Arjuna on the battlefield. Think of me like that. Whenever you're doing your duty day to day, think of Krishna. And then he says, with your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. So he's saying, while you're doing your duty, if you think about me with your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me. Now, what was in the last two verses? What were we hearing about how to attain Krishna? What did we learn in the last two verses about how to attain Krishna?
To think of Krishna all the time.
Okay.
Just to
Let me change my question. Sorry, because that's good. What I mean to say is, at what juncture in one's life were the last two verses, namely verse 5 and 6, at what juncture in one's life was Krishna describing at that juncture how to attain Krishna?
At the time of death.
At the time of death. Thank you. So you were answering a good question, but I posed the wrong question. Then I just modified it, and then that's it. Yes.
Perfect.
So perfect. Thank you. So it's very interesting. So in verses 5 and 6, Krishna is explaining. So the first 4 verses include Arjuna's questions about what is life and what to do about it, and Krishna answers explaining what is life, basically. And then 5 and 6, Krishna is explaining what to do at the end of life to achieve the supreme destination. And now in text 7, Krishna is saying what to do now to attain the supreme destination. So that's interesting, right? Krishna is saying, do your job, basically, do your job and think of Krishna. So don't do your job like maybe you used to do your job. Don't do it maybe like everyone else does their job, or many people. But do your job in a spiritual way, thinking of Krishna. Engage in yoga while doing your job. Make your job yoga, connecting to God. Then you will attain Krishna. So, can anyone reconcile why Krishna is explaining about attaining Krishna, the supreme destination, now in verse 7, and in verses 5 and 6, Krishna is explaining how to achieve the supreme destination at the time of death? Someone maybe who hasn't spoken yet.
yes.
Because focusing on Krishna comes from practice. It cannot like suddenly at the time of death think of Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that is still possible by mercy of pure
Mhm.
devotees,
Mm-hmm.
but not
Mhm.
for ordinary
Mm-hmm.
ordinary devotees or ordinary people.
Okay, perfect. Yes. So to think of Krishna, it's not like a computer program, right? So you press the button, and the computer program, it will go wherever it's programmed to go. Because sometimes I used to think about this in my earlier days practicing Krishna consciousness, like, think of Krishna. Well, think. I mean, I could think about so many things. So Prabhupada would sometimes say, people, they would joke to Prabhupada, not joke, they would sort of reject Prabhupada's proposal to engage in Krishna consciousness and say, well, I'm young now, but when I'm older, I'll do it. And Prabhupada would say, no. So you have to do it now, because it's not like a linear thinking process. Think means, when we talk about think, it's in a spiritual way, it means get to know God. Now, right? So, like, if there's someone you love, if you just say their name, that without knowing them, the same understanding isn't there. But if you know who they are, and when you say their name and you think about them, everything about your relationship with them and their qualities and their activities, all of these things, if that's your understanding, then you're really thinking about it. And that's the meaning here of the word think. So in other words, think has different meanings. This is here think has a deep connotation. It means, and that's very important also, because at the time of death, one is undergoing the most turbulent of all difficult situations that are possible. I'm thinking now of a colleague of mine in the workplace. I was criticizing him for spacing out a little bit at his desk, and then he confided in me that there was a health issue which was causing him anxiety, and he said that he was feeling something going on in his heart, and it was like he wasn't sure if it was beating irregularly or something, and it was causing some emotion and anxiety for him. And so instead of being able to focus the way he normally would, I hope, on his work, instead he was getting somewhat distracted. And so, but he wasn't dying, but he was maybe getting a little taste of what it's like when one of us has to undergo death, which it's very emotional and all-encompassing. When something that's dear to you, or that you feel perhaps inseparable from, when you feel like it may be taken away from you. So what is the closest thing that any of us know to ourselves while we're living in this life? It's our body. Of course, for a non-self-realized person, but hopefully we're all working on that. But so the fear of the body being taken away from it seems like a non-issue for most of us on a daily basis. Someone would say, hey, what are you talking about? This is nonsense. But when death comes, then one will know. So this example that I'm giving of this colleague of mine, he was just feeling like, oh my God, maybe something's happened, because your heart is a central organ to be able to live in this body. It's essential. So if something goes wrong with your heart, all of a sudden someone can really freak out and get upset. And so he couldn't focus. So he wasn't able to think about what he otherwise wanted to think about. So similarly, to think about Krishna, it can only be done at the time of death if one's not distracted by the things that ordinarily would for sure distract everyone else at the time of death, which is separation from one's body, separation from the relationships with other people in their respective bodies. I knew, like me, I work hard. I have a collection of material possessions over the years that I have. I would have to be separated from all of them too. It's like everything I've been working for, all the relationships I've developed, and my own body, which is close to me, all be taken away. And so it's the most turbulent of all moments. For some people, death it happens, not in a moment. It's the most turbulent thing that can, circumstances that one can find oneself in. And so one cannot mechanically, meaning one cannot just through the power of the mind say, okay, I read in this book that if you think of God, then you'll achieve God. So despite these turbulent circumstances, I'm just going to put all that aside and say Krishna. That's only going to work if you really, you've been developing in your life a spiritual relationship with Krishna and understanding that your relationship with Krishna is above and beyond all the good and bad things of this material world. Success in that practice comes from relying on that relationship with Krishna even when one's young or when one's successful in achieving various material things. When one's choosing to be with Krishna, even when the material enjoyment seems to be coming one's way, and then one chooses Krishna, then that relationship becomes solid and strong and long-lasting. And then when the bad things befall one, such as disease and death and separation from everything one knows in this world, if one's been practicing, then one can remember that eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So therefore, Krishna says in text 7, he says, okay, so I just told you you should think of Krishna think of me, Krishna, at the time of death. Now I'm telling you not to diminish the importance of that instruction, but now I'm saying you need to think of me, Krishna, now. Because otherwise you won't be able to think of me, Krishna, at the time of death. That's why Krishna is saying that's the progression of the verses. Now, furthermore, Krishna doesn't say think of me so that you can think of me later, without looking at your book. And someone who hasn't spoken, can someone say, what is it? What is the way? One should think of Krishna now while what? Someone who hasn't spoken, please. Yes.
While one is able.
Okay, good. While one is able. That's a great answer but I want to look at what particularly Krishna said to do while thinking of Krishna in this verse. Someone else who hasn't spoken, please. There's almost everyone's spoken so far, but.
Your mission?
Your mission. Okay, can you be a little more detailed? That's good, that's good.
Was fighting.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so Krishna was saying, think of me while engaging in your mission. And we discussed, as you noted, for Arjuna, his mission was fighting for good. So.
Well, while performing, go ahead.
No, please.
I was just going to say, think of me always while performing your duty.
Performing your duty, perfect. Yes, exactly. So here's how the verses are going. If you want to achieve perfection in life, you have to know what's going on in life, basically, right? In colloquial language, you got to know what's up. You're not going to be able to figure it all out, go on the right path if you don't even know where you are, who you are, what's around you, what the relationships between these things. You need to know that. Then it's now the next instruction, text 5, what to do. Krishna says, focus on death and think of God, achieve the supreme destination. You'll go beyond the temporary things of this world. Then Krishna gives a little more explanation. Whatever you think of at the time of death, you'll achieve the destination corresponding with that state of mind you had. And then Krishna says, now, if you want to think of Krishna at the time of death, you got to think of me, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, now. And then Krishna says, here's how you have to think of me. Think of me while doing your duty, but do something. And not just anything, do your duty. And think of Krishna. And that is the secret to practicing bhakti yoga. So now can someone, there's a couple of my friends in the back who haven't said anything. So I'm going to continue with letting someone who hasn't, and some people in the front who haven't said anything. So can someone say, let me think. Sorry, I was losing my train of thought.
You're doing great.
Excuse me?
So you're doing great.
Thank you.
He was saying Krishna
So-
tells us to do our duty.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's explaining how to do that duty and when. And then you were saying how to remember him during our life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
We have a whole champion team here.
So, I had something, but it's okay.
Atma,
It'll come back.
Atma.
Yes, Prabhu.
Can I add something? I remember we had like a month ago, we had our Chita Prabhu here. And he was saying the interesting part about like it's perfectly like what you focus on every day, why it's important to focus on Krishna, because time of death, it's not like our material stuff taking away, it's like we're taking away, you know.
Mhm.
So what we focus on, that's where we go, you know.
Yeah.
And in Bhagavad Gita, how many examples? There was like a story where the guy was focusing on deer and he became a deer. So it's like very important to focus on God, so you attain Krishna.
Mhm. Thank you.
You said that we focus on death, but I think you meant
What's that?
I think you said we focus on, Krishna says to focus on death, but
Focus on Krishna. That you have to focus on something at the time of death, and Krishna says that should be Krishna. Sorry if I little dyslexia when I'm speaking, I guess.
I thought that might jog where you were left off.
Sorry.
So
No, there's other things jogging going up there. So the purpose of so Krishna is explaining that you have to do your duty while thinking of God, and then you can think of Krishna at the time of death. You can achieve the supreme destination. So this is the Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means to engage in service to God with your body, your mind, your words. Deal with things because everything in this world, it's Krishna's energy. Krishna explains how everything is his energy, both material and spiritual. He explains that in the beginning of the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So to use everything in this world for the pleasure of Krishna. Now, who can say, okay, this is, I think I wanted to go here. Now, who can come up with reason why is it that Krishna says you should think of me while doing your duty? Why not just think of me while not doing your duty? Why? Who can answer that one? And let's first see if anyone who hasn't raised their hand yet would like to answer. And then if not, we'll go back to someone who has already spoken. I'll ask again. So why is it that Krishna doesn't say, in order to think of me, Krishna, at the time of death, now, today, and tomorrow, and the next day, think of me? Why doesn't he say that? Why does he instead say, think of me while doing your duty? Yes. And what's your name?
Manogna.
Manogna. Go ahead. Thank you.
So if we think of Krishna during performing our duties, we might do it in a more dharmic way.
A more dharmic way.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
We don't cheat.
Okay.
We don't lie, or
Uh-huh.
we don't do any sort of illegal things.
Mm. Uh-huh.
we think of Krishna while performing duties?
Okay, because so it's a very, very insightful. So because a lot of people, they talk about being spiritual, and they go to spiritual get-togethers, groups, this and that. Maybe they say they have their religious practice at home. But one of the reasons that many people are turned off by religion, that I'm aware of, is that they find that people are hypocrites. So there's many people, they talk about being spiritual, but then they're, when they actually stop, thinking or praying, thinking of God or praying to God, then their activities don't demonstrate that kind of understanding, that spiritual type of understanding. So put your money where your mouth is, basically. Like if you're praying to God, thinking of God, then do something and let's see how that reflects that spiritual understanding. It's important because really we all are going to be engaging in lots of things. Okay, good. It's back to Sasha.
I'm thinking like when we perform our duties, and so that takes that's like usually a significant portion of our life or time goes to that, and it's also we already need to be focused on something, and most often that activity is already like very stressful, so that's like the time when it's like the easiest to forget about Krishna. So that's maybe where, especially in that time, we also should try to remember Krishna. So that's
So when we engage in activities, sometimes the activities aren't easy. Does anyone have the experience where life isn't always easy?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone? Meryl?
Okay.
It's not always easy, right? Yeah. So sometimes it's easy, like think of God, sounds good. But then all of a sudden you're in the world dealing with stuff. It's not so easy. But if you can think of Krishna then, it's a challenge to be able to think of God in the face of what otherwise is a situation that you might find difficult to overcome. And on the other hand, it can make you very happy to think of God. You realize actually there is nothing in this world that's difficult to overcome, because even in material circumstances that can't be overcome, you overcome them merely by having transcendental knowledge and understanding.
It just makes life so much more tolerable at times.
Yes.
So much more tolerable.
Yes. Thank you. So Arjuna, I think this will be the last point, and then I'll just connect it to the verse that we're on, and then we'll end for tonight, the class. So Arjuna expressed to Krishna that he wanted to actually give up his duty of fighting because persons in the battle on the other side he had relationships with them such that he did not want to kill them. He also thought it could be a violation of, as you called it, dharma, to kill them because some of them were his superiors. He also thought that even if he wins the battle, like there's going to be so much death, how can you enjoy life when so many people have died? He had so many reasons why he thought, even though this is a grand spiritual philosophy that you're explaining, it seems that there will just be great misery if I do my duty of fighting, so let me give up my duty and go off into the forest and meditate. So many persons think that the goal, the highest teaching of spiritual life is to stop doing your duty and just pray and think of God. And that was Arjuna said the same thing. And Krishna responded to Arjuna, actually Arjuna, you're just making up an excuse. You're saying you want to go off and pray to me and think of God. But really, You're just afraid of things of this material world. And that's why you want to give them up. You don't want to really give them up because you love God, but you want to give them up because you hate dealing with this reality. And as long as you are afraid of dealing with reality and doing your duty within this world while thinking of Krishna, as long as you're afraid of that, you'll never be able to think of Krishna at the time of death. You can think about Krishna at the time of death when you've overcome obstacles, attachments, fears of this material world. When you finally understand that you can think of Krishna in any material circumstance, even the one that you find most stressful, that you can think of Krishna and do your duty even there, then you can surmount death. And so that's why Krishna said, think of me while doing your prescribed duty. Now, I just want to provide a little more context before we wrap this up, which is you jump back to where we started in the verse, right? Chapter 8, text 24. There's a series of several verses there where Krishna is explaining how persons who aren't thinking of Krishna, how they achieve the destination, a higher destination. And they try to, through a yogic process, without knowing Krishna, they try to understand all these Vedic teachings and how to master the mind and master the body, control it, control the time that the life air leaves the top of the head, so that they can sort of, through their own powers, try to achieve a higher goal. And it's extremely, Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita that such a process, it's very hard to control such a process. And even if you, so that you can achieve a higher destination. And even if you do that successfully, you won't achieve the personality of Godhead and be with Him until you go back to doing what He said in the first place is the best thing to do, which is think of Krishna while doing your duty, and get to know Him, love Him, devote your life to Him, and then you'll achieve Him at the time of death. So that covers what I wanted to talk about. And then if there's any other questions or comments, we can have that, and then we'll do the kirtan and prasadam. Any questions or comments? Of course, everyone's already said so much, so I'm very satisfied. But does anyone have anything that they want to say besides this? And if you haven't said anything, you're welcome. And if you have said stuff, you're totally welcome as well.
The idea is to develop love of God.
What's it, Prabhu?
The idea is to develop love of God, so it will become natural.
Mm-hmm. Natural, yes. Like similar to the response you gave to the question earlier. Yes, very good. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, Prabhu.
I was going to say, I've been in a lot of classes, and I really appreciate the way you were able to take one verse and then go back to the verses before it and kind of tie it all in. And it really makes it concrete.
Oh, thank you very much. Prabhupada explained the Bhagavad Gita very well, so I just try to be a good student. If you're a good student, that qualifies you to teach well. But thank you so much. Really appreciate. It's delightful and encouraging to discuss Krishna's teachings when doing so with such a wonderful group of persons and devotees. Thank you so much. Anything else?
Can I say one more thing?
Yes,
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Give a quick answer.
Yes.
Because I know we're short on time.
Okay.
You mentioned how the death and how we're going to die, and how. Can you say this a little bit? Like, why is it such a mystery to everybody, even though it happens everywhere? And why do we avoid it so much?
Oh yeah. So. In this, we come to this world, Krishna explains at the end of the 7th chapter, due to desire to be like Krishna and envy of Krishna's position as the Supreme Lord. So persons who compete with God, they come here to the material world, where Krishna lets them fulfill their desire to forget about God, because here people do not see God with through the sense, through their eyes, or they don't perceive him through their senses, material senses. And so because we cannot see God, therefore, similarly, we're not conscious of our spiritual essence. Our spiritual essence is connected to God. So when we really understand our spiritual essence, we have love for Krishna. So because of our desire to forget Krishna and leave Krishna, Krishna kindly lets us do that. Hopefully we learn our lesson and then we want to go back to Krishna. That's his kindness. So he's like helping us learn the lesson, hopefully sooner than later. So if you forget your spiritual essence, that means that one is identifying with the body, thinking one is this temporary body. And then therefore, going back to that point I was making before, there's no greater, no greater source of fear than separation from one's body, from the relationship with other people as one knows them in their bodies, and all the things of this world that one's amassed thinking that belongs to one's body. and it's a mystery what happens, because for such persons there is no understanding that there is life after this body, because the soul is eternal. But if one doesn't know that one's the soul, then one thinks one's the body, and apparently the body itself is finished at the time of death. And so it's a mystery that for people who don't understand God, and it's a sad mystery and a scary mystery. And Krishna's here to shed the light with the torchlight of knowledge, as Krishna says in the 10th chapter, to enlighten us with the torchlight of knowledge. And then what one does as a devotee is one talks together with other devotees about the absolute truth, and one develops great ecstasy from talking about the absolute truth together with like-minded souls. And in this way one conquers death, and one understands and one's no longer scared of it, and the mystery of death is no more. But then there's a positive type of mystery. So when you have a loving relationship, one thing that makes the relationship so nice is that getting to know someone, there's always more to know about that person. But the loving relationship with God, that's the source of the best of all loving relationships, because God is unlimited in his beauty, intelligence, wealth, opulence, fame, and renunciation. He's unlimited. And therefore, the loving relationship with Krishna, it knows no bounds. And therefore, Krishna is a mystery. And so instead of being scared of the mystery of death, which many people pretend just want to run away from the idea of even thinking about that, instead of dealing with that mystery, now all of a sudden we have the mystery of learning who Krishna is. We'll never be able to fully grasp that. But we can understand all that we need to know, that we need to have our loving relationship with him. That we can know. But what will make that relationship so wonderful is that Krishna will always remain a mystery for us. So on that note, I will end, and I thank you all so much for your participation, attention, and encouragement. And now we can do a last kirtan. Is Guneshwar Prabhuji? I see you now. Would you like to lead? We can do a short kirtan, maybe just 10 minutes, because I went on for too long, as I usually do. So Guneshwar, would you like to lead some kirtan? Prabhuji? Yes? Okay, good. Prabhuji?
He has Mridanga.
We have Mridanga here. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're
You want to sit there since you're like this? I'm going to move the mic to you.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Subhanga, do